Well, here are the facts first. In the last 7 years of his prime ministership, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has so far had only 3 nationally televised press conferences. At this time, he's meeting the editors. He's going to meet them once again after about 7 months. Last time he met the editors, he had faced some tough questions. He had some soft questions, but it was all televised. Now, tomorrow, we are told, will be the start of several news conferences. And most importantly, we are told there may be as many as 1 news conference a week. Given that the Prime Minister has not had more than 3 news conferences or 4 news conferences 7 years, that means he's going to break his own record within the next 1 month. That's incredible. Joining us on the News Hour tonight, Swaminathan Iyer, consulting editor of the Economic Times. Swami, welcome. Good to see you back. Vinod Mehta, editor-in-chief of The Outlook. Poranjoy Guha-Takurta, senior television and print journalist and analyst. Nalini Singh, top television journalist. Also with us tonight is Aarti Jairath of the Times of India. Thank you very much. I have a full house tonight. Swami, will it work? Will it work, and should it be on television?
Well, let's put it this way. Manmohan Singh has faced the accusation that he is invisible. Now, being invisible is not necessarily a bad thing if 10 Janpaths wants to hog the limelight. But if, on the other hand, things are getting to a stage where 10 Janpath does not want to hog the limelight, Manmohan Singh to be put forward at a time when there are allegations of corruption, it's not a bad idea to field him, and not a bad idea to field him repeatedly. Manmohan Singh is not an inspiring speaker when he gives a speech. His mode of delivery, his method, it's not exactly inspired. He is much better when it comes to a dialogue. Even there you may argue that he lacks some of the wit that some previous people have had. But certainly I think Manmohan Singh will do better in a dialogue with journalists than he does in a speech by itself. So when you have this government faced with this problem, that it is under threat, it is accused of corruption, it is accused of having an invisible prime minister, well, they are telling Manmohan Singh, change your strategy. Instead of remaining in the background, go out there, meet them repeatedly again and again. Let us have you carry conviction that we have at least one good, honest man there attempting to improve governance.
That's very, very interesting and very, I must say, Swami, it's a very positive way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it, of course, Nalini Singh, is that, you protected the Prime Minister for 7 years. Now you're not protecting the Prime Minister, you're telling the Prime Minister to go ahead and face the questions himself. That's how some people are reading it. Why this change of strategy now, 7 years into UPA?
Well, I think because the Congress Working Committee, if that's where it comes from, has really lost connectivity with the public of India, because it is the farman, the order from the Congress Working Committee that now go talk to television. I do agree, concede that the way we engage with the world has changed, and silence is now looked at very suspiciously. You're either hiding somebody or shielding somebody, and the Prime Minister, indeed, since 2007, since Raja's letters, etc., then the Commonwealth Games, then the 2G, then the JPC, particularly the silence in the last session of Parliament when he would not say anything on JPC, all these were ill-advised or bad decisions. But now to say suddenly, do a somersault and talk to television. Now, does the Congress Working Committee, if it's coming from there, not realize that in fact corruption has given the entire government a bad image? But this image is not going to be improved by fielding the Prime Minister against investigative reporters such as of your channel, who are ferreting out one scam after another. Corruption is only, this corruption will only reduce by reforms in the institutions of governance. So what are we doing, thinking the Prime Minister will go and whitewash what has happened? It is indeed extremely ill-advised. Now, I want to ask a philosophical question. Are we saying, Dr. Manmohan Singh, you be the Prime Minister, or you act as if you are the Prime Minister? So if he goes, if he goes to television, every television or anything else, 5 editors per week, now are we letting him be the Prime Minister? Or are we who he is, Dr. Manmohan Singh, the Prime Minister? Or are we saying now act as the Prime Minister? You're on the horse. You've got a cowboy hat. You're in the rodeo, and you twirl your lasso, and you act as if you're Prime Minister. What is happening?
No, I love the fact that you're repeatedly referring to television. Unfortunately, Nalini is saying, tonight I don't even know if tomorrow at this time I will have a tape of what the Prime Minister said. A very old-fashioned technique of transcribing what he said in an audio tape and putting that out in a PIB press, website is going to be followed. I might have a graphic screen instead of the Prime Minister tomorrow, unfortunately. I hope you're right.
If not this week, then the next week.
I hope so, and I hope we are also invited.
The next week.
But Paranjoy Goa-Thakurta, before I come to you, Vinod Mehta, somebody in the Prime Minister's office will say, we're damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't, listening to what Nalini Singh is saying tonight.
Arnab, go back almost exactly 20 years ago, when Manmohan Singh first entered politics. The first budget he presented, the big bang budget he presented, the liberalization budget. On that occasion, normally after the budget, the top officials of the Ministry of Finance, they brief the press. On this occasion, Dr. Manmohan Singh himself went, and he sort of was present in Shastri Bhavan, in the PIB lounge, in the PIB press conference, and he was explaining what the budget meant. Those were days when Dr. Manmohan Singh was very, very media friendly. He would give long interviews with everybody. After that, he went through a patch where he sort of became very, very reticent about opening up in front of the media. It's now he's entered the 8th year as Prime Minister, and you can really count the number of occasions where he's had fielded any and every question from the media. So I think this is an attempt on his part to try and indicate that not only is he clean, he's willing to justify all the actions that his government has taken. If you recall, on the last time he appeared, when you were present, on the 16th of February, when all those questions were asked about the 2G scam and a whole lot of other things, many argue that at the end of the day, did the Prime Minister come out with, in flying colors? Was the image of his government enhanced? And many people would argue no. That the manner in which he said, look, I really didn't take the decision to go in for first come, first served. I believe when Mr. Raja was supported by others, and his repeated thing, the compulsions of coalition politics. At the end of the day, did the manner in which he justified the fact that the government took no action on the telecom scam for 3 years, did that enhance his image?
I'm not
so sure it did.
I don't know.
Once again, whereas there's a huge amount of pressure on him from within his party to become more proactive with the media, to try and refurbish the battered image of his government, whether or not that will happen by more frequent interactions with the media, only time can tell.
Paranjoy, you're getting me nostalgic about the last news conference and getting me increasingly agitated that we haven't been invited yet for this one. I don't even know if I'll have a videotape of this to show tomorrow. I really hope we do. Vinod Mehta, will this work for the Prime Minister or will it work against him? What's your hunch? Have you been invited?
No, I haven't, Arnab.
Oh.
And but I hope you don't mind my saying so, Arnab, because TV people have not been invited. Tomorrow's meeting with editors doesn't necessarily make it a non-event.
Not at all. I just said give us a videotape. Give us a videotape.
World can survive without TV. For one press conference, India can survive.
Sure, but let's have a videotape.
We should be great. But we should be grateful at least that in a slightly more managed atmosphere, he is going to talk to 5 editors once a week or whatever it is. I think this is a step in the right direction. I think it may be a step which he has taken too late, he should have taken earlier, but it's still a step in the right direction. You see, I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is that, say on the Lokpal bill, the Prime Minister is caught in a dilemma. His personal position, as we all know, is that the Prime Minister should be included in the Lokpal bill. The party is not very keen that the Prime Minister should be included in the Lokpal bill. So what is he going to say? He will have to say that he will have to follow the party line, and which will go against his own line.
No.
So these are the problems he faces, but any Prime Minister must be able to overcome this And I think that this is a step in the right direction. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But we will get some idea of the Prime Minister's mind on various issues which are troubling the country.
Aarti Jairath, top question for the Prime Minister you would ask tomorrow if you were invited.
Well, the tough question that I would ask him
it's really
would be,
unfortunate, Arnav, that he has chosen to break his silence at a time when his government is under so much controversy, facing so much fire from all around. So obviously he's going to face a lot of very uncomfortable questions. Very difficult at this point of time to think of the top question, because there are a whole array of questions that one would want to put to the Prime Minister. But I do feel, Arnav, that I think it's a good idea that he is going to talk to the media. It's belated and it's perhaps a bad time, but you know, it's time he did it. And all over the world, you know, we see world leaders, whether it's Obama or Cameron or Sarkozy, they meet the media frequently, they talk to them, they explain their policy decisions, they explain, you know, whatever initiatives they're planning, they face questions. It's a way of communication. This is the era of communication. People are much more aware, they're better informed, they want answers from their government, they want explanations from their government. And I think that, you know, every Prime Minister must follow this, maybe not once a week, but certainly frequent interactions with the media, which is a channel, which is a way of communicating to people.
Okay, now here's a question. I do not want to give at all an opportunity for a full dress rehearsal to the Prime Minister tonight. But I am tempted to ask you, Swami, imagine if this were a news conference and you were invited. What would your top question to the Prime Minister be, which you, in your view, would draw a big news point? Whatever the answer.
My immediate question would be, who else in the cabinet are you going to have arrested? I think that would be the very first question, because governance, I think, is at the top of our agenda. Beyond that, I would say, you have been a person with a reputation for being an economic reformer. You are generally seen as suffering currently from economic paralysis. When are you going to shift from paralysis to reform, and in which direction? My third question would be, you said when you came to power that administrative reform of various kinds was at the top of your agenda. You have appointed committee after committee after committee. Are you going to end 2 terms in office only appointing committees, or are we actually going to see substantive administrative reform?
Right.
I think these are 3 good questions to begin with.